Everybody's talking about the Kanye West Drink Champs interview. Now we know when Kanye pops out and does his interviews, it's always good for a rant. He's gonna go in, he's gonna, say a bunch of things that's headline worthy and all that stuff. That's what we expect from him. Here's the thing we have to be careful about, and this, you guys know I keep talking about this. We choose to highlight all of the negative stuff, but we ignore the positive stuff. So yeah, Kanye went on his rant and he said things about, different people. He spoke about Talib Kweli, he spoke about Big Sean, he spoke about Jay-Z. Of course, all these things, Just Blaze and all this, he went on a bunch of people. Now, people missed something that he said about Beanie Siegel. He said Beanie Siegel is the one that came up with the name Yeezy. And he's been looking for him because he wants to give him money. That's big right there, but everybody overlooks that. Now, that's a real stand-up thing. But that goes over people's heads. That is the way we are supposed to operate as a society, as somebody that is in business or anything. When somebody does something, that's something that is easily overlooked most of the time. And that's something that you'll see somebody down the road complaining about. And they'll be like, oh, I'm the one that gave him the name. He could have gave me some money. He could have acknowledged me, this and that. Beanie Siegel never did that as far as I've heard. But Kanye was the one that came out and put that out there and said, you know what? He gave me that name. He came up with the name. I'm now a billionaire. That name is worth billions. I owe this man some money. I need to find him. That's real stand up. That's how we should operate. That's one of the most potent things that he said because, one, just for the mere fact of, like I said, that's a real stand up thing. He didn't acknowledge that because somebody else put that out there and then he addressed it. He's the one that put that out there. And he is at the point where he's like, all right, he's appreciative and he wants to look out for the people. So someone that created that name for him that's become so iconic, he's like, all right, let me make sure I look out for this guy. That's the way it should be done. I applaud Kanye for that. Now, I hope he actually, makes that happen. Now, I heard a report that said, he was going to give him $50 million. I don't know what he's going to, I don't care. Just the fact that he acknowledged it and he wants to give him something, that's a big deal. So that should be highlighted and acknowledged, but it's not. They want to talk about, Soulja Boy and what he said about him and then Soulja Boy's rant. Now, here's something else I want to, we always criticize the media because as the media, they put this stuff out there. They make these narratives. And of course, Kanye is the one that said this stuff out of his mouth. So, yeah, you say, okay, people are going to jump on this and bring it up. But I want you to think about a couple of things when it comes to that. Kanye did an interview. And obviously, like we know, it's Kanye. So it's going to get millions and millions of views. A lot of people are going to watch it. But the negative things he said can only go so as far as the rest of us take it. Because think about this. If Kanye says something about Jay-Z or Soulja Boy or Just Blaze or whoever, right? They might feel a way. Obviously, people who are watching the interview, they feel a way. But this stuff gets big because every outlet, big or small, chooses to take it, talk about it, analyze it. We keep talking about it. We may actually make this stuff bigger than it is. So when we're saying, why does this negativity keep coming out? People are gonna say what they're gonna want to say out their mouth, and sometimes you can't fault somebody for just speaking their truth, whether you like it or not. But we don't have to keep putting it out there. We don't have to keep stressing it and make it a talking point. We have that opportunity to do that. The same way as if you want to criticize the media for putting stuff out there, you don't have to consume it. This is what I keep telling people in my personal life. Just because a story is out there does not mean you have to click on it and pay attention to it. If you don't like something, don't pay attention to it. If you don't like negativity, don't feed into it, then complain about it. The same way, whereas you don't have to talk about it throughout your day. Even if you watch something or you click on an interview or you click on, an article and you read it, you're giving that every time you do that, you're giving that publication or that platform a reason to do more because it shows interest. Publications and platforms, they're only going to create content based off interest. So if they know something is driving in traffic or revenue, because that traffic is turning into revenue, then they're going to keep doing it because they're going to say, this is making us money and this is what people want. Because when people don't want something, they don't pay attention to it. So obviously, if people want the negativity, they're going to click on the negativity. Then what are you going to do as a platform? You're going to give them more negativity. But then the people who's consuming all this negativity, they end up complaining about, oh, there's too much negativity. You have to take it upon yourself to stop. This is why anybody that knows me, they'll know if we're in a conversation, I'll say, oh, yeah, I saw this headline. I saw this, but I didn't click on it. I didn't read it. So I only know that headline. But I also know, don't just go off something based off the headline. And that's also what a lot of people do. They'll read a headline, they won't read the article, or they'll read a little bit of it and won't dive deep into it. And then they don't get the full story. But then they're going around speaking on what the headline said as if they know the whole story. A lot of times you don't know the whole story. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. But anyway, let's pull it back for a second. It's our responsibility what we choose to feed into. If you don't give something your energy, it can't last, it can't grow, it can't sustain. So the fact that we keep talking about negative things over and over, it gives it life, it gives it more credibility. It allows it to keep going. And like I said, if you're giving it all that energy, people are going to give you more. So think about that. So there's a lot of things that should have been spoken about and highlighted in that interview. And you got to start looking at things from a certain perspective. Now, let's take Drink Champs. From their perspective, I know they just sat back and said, yo, we know Kanye is just going to go off. So we're going to sit here and for the most part, just let him go because this is going to be golden content. So, okay, I get that. And as a content creator, if I was interviewing Kanye, I would have did the same thing for the most part. But I would have also reeled it back in to touch on important things. For instance, we all criticize Kanye because he was wearing that red hat and, he was hugging Donald Trump and all that. A lot of people had a problem with that. But now you get him in a situation where he's talking. You're not restricted by time. He's open and free. Why didn't you jump into that? That should have been one of those things you got into. And this is why I say people, and this is not to defend him or to criticize him, but if you don't get his firsthand take on why he did it, then you'll never understand. So for anybody that was criticizing him or for anybody that was on his side with it, how many people has actually gotten his clear understanding of why he was doing that? That was a perfect opportunity for him to clear that up, and that was a perfect opportunity for the Drink Champs to get that out. And I feel like that's something that they should have did. They missed that opportunity. Also, you have someone who's a billionaire, someone who came from the hip hop community, someone who was a producer, a rapper, and he became iconic through his music, through his first profession. But then he transitioned into other things, clothing, sneakers, all these different deals, all these different things. And they didn't talk about that. This is the first billionaire that they had on their platform, and they didn't get into any of that. That was a miss. And I'm a Drink Champs fan, but that was a miss. Those are things that we should be paying attention to. There's a lot of things that Kanye says. There's a lot of things that anybody who we view as radical or crazy, there's a lot of things that people say that goes over people's heads. Because Kanye was dropping a lot of jewels, and he always drops a lot of jewels within those rants. But we choose to pay attention to the negatives, and we let all the other stuff go over our heads. I'm somebody who I look for all that other stuff. That other stuff is the stuff that's important to me. I don't care who he's talking about, who he's mad at, this and that. That's unimportant to me. I want the jewels. I want to know how he got to certain situations. What was his strategy? Things like that. Those are the things we need to be looking out for if you really want to progress in life, not the drama. And if that's the things that you're looking for, it says a lot about you and where you want to go in life. That's sad though. So there's so many things that he said. But again, even publications, they're not going to promote a lot of the positive things he said. Think about that. Don't let yourself be manipulated. But along with being manipulated, we end up manipulating ourselves. We dumb ourselves down because we're so used to just paying attention to things that really don't matter. This man's a billionaire. And the only thing you have to talk about is he said something about Big Sean. He said something about Jay-Z. We're doing something wrong. You got to start seeing that. You got to start noticing those things. Just think about it. Now, another thing, I pay attention to certain things, right? So like I said, I want to hear, how did you get, this deal? How did you get to a billionaire? How did you get, your sneaker line and the designs and all of those things? That's what's important. Now you have to also ask yourself, why aren't there enough publications or platforms that are talking to him about those things? Think about that. Now, as a platform, I would think it would be in my best interest to pull that sort of information out there, or pull that out of him for my audience. And even if it's from a perspective of, let me just get some different information that's not already out there, that he's not already putting out there. You have to ask yourself why, because it's very, very easy to let someone like Kanye rant and rave, talk about other people. Then you highlight that. You highlight all this division. You highlight the negativity. But no one wants to sit there and highlight the positive things. Ask yourself why. Now, here's the important part. As you're asking yourself why, I know you're sitting there saying, well, we know why. We know. But also now, if you know, then ask yourself, why aren't you demanding that type of information? Why aren't you seeking that type of information? Because what we do, and I always like to put the emphasis back on us. A lot of people don't like that. A lot of people don't want to be held accountable. But we have to hold ourselves accountable. Why aren't we seeking this information? Why, when this information comes out, we're letting it go over our heads and we're not paying attention? That's on us. So every time I hear somebody complain about the media and this person and that person, nope, what about you? Why are you not consuming, or why are you not looking for the right information? Because it is out there. We're messed up. We got to fix those issues. We got to start seeing things, from the right way. When Kanye, if Kanye would have went on there and spoke about a whole bunch of business stuff, whole bunch of positivity, it wouldn't have gotten the same attention. No one would have absorbed that information the right way. That's your fault. That's our fault. You can't blame that on media. You can't blame that on him. It's us. There's a kid that I've been following. He has a clothing line. It's called Spurgo. Everybody that knows me knows I've been talking about this for a few years, and I've been talking about it a lot recently because this is a 12-year-old kid from Philadelphia who started a T-shirt line, and he grew that T-shirt line into $1 million business. He's only 15 now, so it's been, 3 years? He's gotten celebrities to take notice and wear his stuff. He opened up a few outlets, a few stores. He just went on Shark Tank the other day, and he got a deal with Damon John. That's a big deal. Now, this is what I mean. These are things that interest me. I give this information to everybody that I know that has kids. But that's never the conversation when I speak to these people. That bothers me. That means we're doing something wrong. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear this. But people want to talk about Kanye and who he dissed. We'll highlight that stuff, but we don't want to highlight this 15-year-old kid who's doing something big. Think about that. Think about what we choose to put our energy into. We're not going to get anything out of who Kanye is beefing with and having these conversations. We're not getting anything out of who's better, Jordan or LeBron. We're not getting nothing out of that. But if I give you a story about this kid, nobody watches the video when I send it to them. Nobody looks this kid up. Nobody says, let me check out his clothes. I might want to support. And, nobody does that. Now, that's something you can actually get something out of. That's something that you can be inspired by, whether it's you as an adult or you want to pass that information to your kids. That's something you can actually get something from. That's someone who's doing something positive and is inspiring, but we don't pay attention to those things. There's tons of that information. You have to think about why it is that we choose to be like that. Why do we choose to give negative things our energy and not the positive things? Now, what happens is someone, whether it's any celebrity, any athlete, what we do is we'll applaud when we hear, oh, Kanye just became a billionaire. Oh, we applaud that. But then we sit around and realistically we wait until we hear something negative like we just heard. Oh, he's this and this person, he's this is that person. And we give that way more attention. And then we look for some reason that, if Kanye does something wrong somewhere or somebody has an issue with him, then we look to find some way to break them down. See, I knew he wasn't a good person. See, I knew he was a crook. See, I knew this. See, that's what we do. That says a lot about our mentalities, where we're just looking for the negative. And as soon as somebody will hold somebody up for a second, but we can't wait for a moment to tear them down. And to show that, oh, see, they're not what you thought he was, and find a way to discredit all of that person's accomplishments. This is a mental problem that we have. And if we don't all address this within ourselves individually, we're in trouble. We've been in trouble. and we see where that gets us, but not enough people want to actually make a change. My point is, stop consuming all of the negativity. Stop giving it so much of your attention. Work on giving positive things your attention. You put that positivity out there, positive things happen, and then that positivity comes back to you. What do you get out of your day by talking about people's negatives all day? Why is that always a talking point? I don't know. I'm going to just leave it at that, I guess. The point in all of this is I want us to start putting in more action. I want us to be better. I want us to think differently. I want us to think better. I want us to do better. I want us to be better. And I want people to start recognizing where things are off in life and where we are contributing to that. Because everybody wants to sit around and act like it's not them. It's you, it's me, it's all of us. And the less dumb shit that you accept, the less dumb shit that can get put out there and that can live. It's always going to get put out there, don't get me wrong. But that shit can't live if we don't accept it. That's it.